Hi again, it's Micah from Gusti Leather, and today I'm going to show you how to make this leather pouch. This is the perfect little bag for all the important things you want to have with you when you're traveling or for a night out. You will need a piece of sturdy leather, a ruler, a cutter and something to write with, sewing thread, matching sewing needles, prick irons, a rubber hammer, a thick leather strap, snaps, or just a large snap button and eyelets. The pouch is made up of 3 parts, the front and back with measurements of 12 centimeters by 15 centimeters, and the flap with measurements of 12 centimeters by 8 centimeters. Now just mark these measurements on the leather and use a scalpel to cut each piece. Okay, so this is an optional step, but I think it looks nicer. I have cut the lower corners of the pouch to make them round. I'm just using the bottom of this roll of thread to mark the corners, but you could also use something else like a glass. Make sure that you only cut the lower corners of the front and back pieces and the 2 corners of the flap piece. When you're done with this step for each of the 3 parts, you can start preparing the hand seams. Now I will sew the flap to the back of the pouch. I'll leave about 2.5 centimeters for the overlap. Just mark it here and then put the 2 parts together with a simple fabric clamp. I'm doing this so that the metal eyelets are covered by the leather piece from the inside and it prevents them from scratching my phone. Okay, so to make sure that there is an even distance between the seam and the outer edge, I'll take the 2-pronged prick iron and pull it across the outer edges. I'm not going to do this to the top. Now I'm doing the same thing to the back piece. At this point, I'll only make these markings until the overlap, because I don't want to sew this part right away. It's probably hard to see these markings in the video, but by marking out the seam with the 2-pronged prick iron, I'm creating a very fine line that will help me to punch the seam holes in the right places with the larger prick iron. I have now hammered in all the seam holes with the rubber hammer, and I'm now marking the 2 points where I want to place the metal eyelets. I'm going to do this before I begin sewing. The exact position of the eyelet is completely up to you. I used 1.5 centimeters from the top and 2.5 centimeters from the outer edges. When you have set the mark, punch it in. I use a set like this for the eyelets because all the metal drivers and punches are already included. After hammering in the hole, I now place the driver underneath, place the 2 parts of the eyelet on top of each other, and then use the other driver to hit the eyelet together. I'll do the same on the other side. Put both parts together again and hit them firmly with the driver and the rubber hammer. Once you've hammered the 2 eyelets in, you can now attach the flap to the back again with the 2 fabric clamps and start stitching. I will first sew the flap to the back and then sew the front and back pieces together. My hand sewing is supposed to imitate a sewing machine seam, which means that the front and back have the same stitch pattern. Therefore, I'm using a saddler seam, which means I use 2 small short leather needles and always sew alternatively. Sew a stitch on the front and then a stitch with the other needle on the back, and these 2 needles cross each other in the same hole. So the needle that I used to create a stitch on the back will then push through to create a stitch on the front, and vice versa. and the two needles will cross each other again in the same seam hole. Be careful not to pull or damage the thread when you're sewing through the same seam hole. I have now created a seam using the saddler stitch, and all I have to do is attach the snap fastener. We have a more detailed tutorial on snap fasteners already, so please check it out in the info box. I'm going to mark the middle of the flap here. Then I create a hole using the revolver punch plier. And then make another marking here for the other side of the snap fastener. And again, I'll punch this to make a hole. Now I'll hammer in both sides of the fastener to keep them in place. I always use complete sets for my push buttons, where the metal drivers are already included, so I only need a rubber hammer to knock everything in. So the pouch is now almost done. You just need to tie in the strap. You can change the length of the straps by simply redoing the knots, because they will only be visible from the inside. The pouch is now complete and ready for your next adventure. I hope that you have had fun watching this video and that you can create your own pouch. Thanks for watching. Bye!